Hi guys, this is the EdExcel GCSE 9-1 Maths paper 2 from the foundation tier, and it's from the June 2019 series, and it's a calculator paper. Question 1, we have to write down 0.75 as a fraction. To do this, we can either recognize that we can write 0.75 as 75 over 100, and then simplify this to 3/4, or we can simply use our calculator. We type in 0.75, we end up with 3/4. Question 2, we have to write down the following numbers in order of size. We have to start with the smallest number first. Well, if we think of this in terms of temperatures, the more negative a number, the colder the atmosphere. -3 is the smallest, followed by the -1, followed by the 0, followed by the 2, followed by the 4. Question number 3, we have to write down two factors of 15. Well, for this question, we think to ourselves, which two numbers which multiply to give 15? Of course, we can choose 3 and 5. We can choose 1 and 15 if we want as well. For question number 4, we have to change 1,756 grams into kilograms. So to do this question, to go from kilograms to grams, we would have to multiply by 1,000. And to go from grams to kilograms, we would have to divide by 1,000. So to convert the 1756 into grams, we divide this value by 1,000. It turns out we get 1.756. So we have 1.756 kilograms. Question number 5. We have to write down the number 2 million in figures. Well, 2 million will have 6 zeros after the 2. So we have the following. Question number 6. Dave goes to a cafe and buys 2 cups of coffee and a piece of cake. Each cup of coffee costs £2.75. The cake costs £2.90. Dave will pay with a £10 note. He thinks he will get more than £1.50 in change. Is Dave correct? Well, if he pays with a £10 note, each cup of coffee costs £2.75 and he's buying 2 cups. So we subtract off 2 times by £2.75, and he's also buying a piece of cake, so we subtract off £2.90, and we've got a calculator to work this sum out. So we've got 10 take away 2 times by £2.75, take away £2.90. It turns out we get £1.60. So therefore we get £1.60. So because this value is greater than the £1.50, is Dave correct? Of course, Dave is correct. Question number 7. There are Y boats on a lake. There are 7 people on each boat. We have to write an expression in terms of Y for the total number of people in the boats. Well, if there's Y boats, 7 people in each boat, we multiply Y by 7 to find the total number, so therefore the total number is 7Y. Of course, it's an expression, so we just leave it as 7Y. Question number 8, for part A, we have to simplify A times by B times by 7. Well, here, in terms of the numbers, we have 7. We multiply that by A, we get 7A. We multiply this thing by B, we get 7AB. Now we have to simplify y times y times y. Well, over here we see that y is being multiplied by itself 3 times, so we have y cubed. For part C of the question, we have to simplify fully e times by e times by e times by f divided by e times by e times by f times by f. Well, here this e cancels with this e cancels with this e, and this f cancels with this f, so we are left with e over f. Question number 9. The pictogram shows information about the number of vinyl records sold in a shop on Monday and Tuesday. A full circle represents 8 vinyls. So for part A, we have to write down the number of vinyls records sold on Monday. So here we have 3 full circles. Each circle represents 8. So here we have 8 plus 8 plus 8. That turns out to be 24. Now for the next part of the question, the number of vinyls we have on Tuesday. Well, here you can see we have a quarter of a circle. A quarter of a circle will represent 2 vinyls. So here we have 8 plus 8, which is 16, plus another 2, that's 18. On Wednesday and Thursday, a total of 36 vinyl records were sold. The number of records sold on Thursday was 8 times the number of records sold on Wednesday. We have to use this information to complete the pictogram. Well, over here, if the number of records sold on Thursday was 8 times the number of those sold on Wednesday, the ratio of the vinyl sold of Wednesday to Thursday, that's going to equal 1 to 8. So we want to find out how many vinyls were sold on Wednesday and Thursday before we can draw the pictogram. So we see over here that there's 36 vinyls which were sold altogether, and this 36 is split into this ratio here. So here we can find the total number of parts. The number of parts, that's equal to 1 plus 8, which is 9. And therefore, the amount per part, that will be 36 divided by 9, which is 4. So here we have 4 vinyls per part. So therefore, the number of vinyls sold on Wednesday, that's equal to 1 times by 4, which is 4. So we have 4 vinyls sold on Wednesday. And for Thursday, we have 8 multiplied by 4, which is 32. So we have 32 vinyls sold on Thursday. So if we use our pictogram, 8 vinyls is shown by a full circle. So 4 vinyls, which is half of 8, would be represented by half a circle. Now for Thursday we have 32. Well, happily for us, 32 divided by 8, that will be 4. So here we have to draw 4 full circles for Thursday, which would represent 32. So we have over here 32 vinyls sold on Thursday. Question number 10. We've got 3 symbols here: less than, greater than, and equals, and we have to write one of these symbols in each box to make the 4 statements true. Well, 14 and 21, well, 14 is less than 21. Here we've got 4 plus 7, that's 11, let's just add this here. And here 103 take away 92, that will be, if I work this out, 103 take away 92, that's 11. Of course, here we have equals. 2 squared, that's 4. And 2 times by 2, that's also 4, so here we have another equals. And here we have minus 3 and minus 5. Well, if we think of these in terms of temperatures, minus 5 is a colder temperature than minus 3. So therefore here, minus 3 is greater than minus 5. Question number 11. P is equal to 7r plus 3q. We have to work out the value of P when r is equal to 5 and q is equal to minus 4. So when r is equal to 5, we have here 7 lots of 5 plus 3 lots of minus 4. We have 35 minus 12. It turns out here we get 23. Question number 12. Here is part of a train timetable, and Graham gets to the station in Brighton at 7:15. Work out how many minutes he has to wait until 7:22. Well, 7:15 to 7:22, he has to wait 7 whole minutes before he can jump on the train. And now for part B of the question, work out how long it will take the 7:22 train to get to London. Well, here we want to find out how long it will take to go to London. So 7:22 to 9 o'clock, we have to work out the difference between those. So 9 o'clock take away 7:22. Well, to go from 7:22 to 8 o'clock, that will be 38 minutes. So here we have 38 minutes. That takes us to 8 o'clock. And then from 8 o'clock to 9 o'clock, that's 1 full hour. So here we have 1 hour, 38 minutes. So that's how long it will take to get to London. Question number 13. The diagram shows 9 identical squares inside a rectangle, and the length of the rectangle is 12 centimeters. We have to work out the width of the rectangle. Well, in terms of the length, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 squares across. So we can use this information to find out the length of the side of the square. So we can divide 12 by 6. So for the length, we have 12 divided by 6, which is equal to 2. So we have 2 centimeters for the length of 1 square. So if I add this on over here, the length of 1 square is 2 centimeters. And of course, therefore, the height of the square is also 2 centimeters. And in terms of the width, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 squares in total. So therefore the width here, we're going to have 2 times by 5, which is 10. So here we end up with 10 centimeters. Question number 14. We have to write the ratio 4.5 to 2.25 in the form n to 1. So if we do this, the way I like to think about this question, well, I begin with the 4.5 to the 2.25. I want a 1 over here, and the way I go from 2.25 to the 1 is I divide by 2.25. So I have to do the same thing on the other side. I have to divide 4.5 by 2.25, and if I do that, I get 2. So therefore, we have 2 to 1. Question number 15. The garden is in the shape of a rectangle 90 meters by 60 meters. Flowers are grown in 40% of the garden. The rest of the garden is grass. We have to work out the area of the garden that is grass. Well, if 40% is flowers, the percentage that is grass is 60%. So here 60% is grass. So the first thing we can do is work out the total area of the garden, and then if we work out 60% of that, that will tell us the area of the grass. So the area of the garden, that's going to equal 90 multiplied by 60, which is 5,400. Okay, meters squared, don't forget your units. And therefore the area of grass, that's equal to 60% of 5,400. Well, 60% represents 60 divided by 100, which is 0.6 as a decimal. So here we have 0.6 multiplied by 5,400. So it turns out we get 3240. So therefore we end up with our final answer 3420. For question number 16, 4 biased coins A, B, C and D are thrown. The probability that each coin will land on heads is shown in the table. Which coin is least likely to land on heads? Well, the way I like to do this is we can actually convert all of these into a fraction. or we could convert them all into a decimal. So if I put all of them to 3 decimal places, here we have 0.330, if you want to think of it like that. The 1/3, that's equal to 0.333 to 3 decimal places, and 30%, that's equal to 0.300. So which coin is least likely to land on heads? That's B. Obviously, it has the smallest probability. And now, which coin is most likely to land on heads? That's the one with the biggest probability. That's of course C. Now, for part B, Julie says the probability that coin C will land on heads is the same as the probability that coin C will land on tails. Is she correct? Well, the probability that we land on a heads for C, that's equal to 1/3. And therefore, because probability adds up to 1, the probability that she lands on tails is equal to 2/3. And therefore, these aren't the same. So therefore, she is incorrect. Okay. So now for question number 17, there are 84 calories in 100 grams of banana. There are 87 calories in 100 grams of yogurt. Pretty has 60 grams of banana and 150 grams of yogurt for breakfast. We have to work out the total number of calories in this breakfast. Well, over here, let's write all these as ratios. So we have 84 calories, so let's just write this down. We'll do this in a different colour actually. We have 84 calories in 100 grams of banana. And we want to find out how many calories there are in 60 grams of banana. Okay, and the way we can do this is to go from 100 to 60. Well, working that out is quite hard, but instead what we can do is we can find out how many there are in 10 grams by dividing by 10. So to go from here to here, all I've just done is divided by 10, and if I do that I get 8.4 calories. And therefore, to go from 10 to 60, I multiply by 10. So 10 times by 60, we multiply by 6. So 10 times by 6, that's 60. So 8.4 times by 6, that's 50.4. So we have 50.4 calories in 60 grams of banana. We can do a similar thing for the yogurt. We know already that there are 87 calories in 100 grams of yogurt. So we want to find out how many calories there are in 150 grams of yogurt. Now, the way we can do this, well, if I find out what 50 grams is, if I add these two together, I get 150 grams. So first thing we can do is we can find out the amount in 50 grams, and we can do this by dividing by 2. So if I do this, I get 43.5 calories in 50 grams of yogurt. So therefore, adding these together, 100 grams plus 50 grams gives the 150 grams, 87 plus 43.5, that gives 130.5 calories. So the total amount of calories, so therefore the total amount of calories, that's going to equal the 50.4, that's from the banana, plus the 130.5, that's from the yogurt. Turns out we get 180.9. So that's our final answer, 180.9 calories. Question number 18. Machine A and Machine B both make car parts. Machine A makes 6 parts every 10 minutes. Machine B makes 13 parts every 15 minutes. On Monday, Machine A makes 12 parts for 12 hours. Machine B makes parts for 10 hours. We have to work out the total number of parts made by the two machines on Monday. So what we can do over here is split this question up. So let's split it up as Machine A and Machine B. Now, so far, we know from the question that we have 6 parts every 10 minutes. And we can use this information to find out the total number of parts made in 12 hours for Machine A. So the way we can do this is, if I know how many parts are made in 1 hour, I can multiply that by 12 to find out how many parts are made in 12 hours. So, recognizing that we have 60 minutes, which is equal to 1 hour, I can find out how many parts are made in 60 minutes by multiplying by 6. So 6 times by 6, that's 36. So here we have 36 parts every 60 minutes. That's quite useful, because in 1 hour there's 36 parts, and therefore in 12 hours, we multiply 36 by 12, so 36 times by 12, turns out we get 432. So here we have 432 parts every 12 hours. So that's for Machine A. And we can do the same thing with Machine B. So now for Machine B, we have 13 parts every 15 minutes. And we wish to find out how many parts are made in 60 minutes, because from this we can find out how many are made in 10 hours. So to go from 15 to 60, we multiply by 4. 13 times by 4, that's 52. So here we have 32 parts made every 60 minutes. And therefore, in 10 hours, recognizing 60 minutes is 1 hour, 10 hours, we multiply by 10. So we have 520 parts every 10 hours. And that's for Machine B. And therefore, the total number of parts, that's equal to 432, so this over here is Machine A, plus 520, that's Machine B. So therefore it turns out we get 952 parts in total. Okay, so therefore we have 952. Question number 19. We've got a plan of a kitchen which is drawn to a scale of 1 to 30. So we see the kitchen over here, it's a nice rectangle, and we've got the scale 1 to 30, that was already told to us in the question somewhere here. And it says here, Sam is going to put a small table in the kitchen. The table is going to be more than 180 centimeters from A and more than 150 centimeters from BC. Show by shading on the diagram the region where Sam can put the table. Well, obviously, looking at this A4 piece of paper, 180 centimeters is quite large. Our ruler over here only goes up to 15 centimeters. So we have to apply the scale given to us. So it says in the question that it has to be more than 180 centimeters from A. That's told to us over here. So using the scale, we can shrink this down to an appropriate length to use here. So if we do that using the scale, 180 centimeters in real life would represent over here 180 divided by 30, which is 6 centimeters on this scale drawing. And similarly, more than 150 centimeters from BC, using the scale again. In real life, we have 150 centimeters. Using the scale, we have 150 divided by 30, which is 5 centimeters. So that's quite useful. So what can we do with this? Well, if it says it has to be more than 180 centimeters from A, in other words, using our drawing here, 6 centimeters from A, this suggests to us the fact that it says from a single point, we would have to draw an arc from A, 6 centimeters radius. So if I grab my ruler, my compass, I measure off 6 centimeters. So we have something like that. That's about 6 centimeters. So from the point A, we put the pointy bit of our compass on the point A, and then we literally just draw an arc like so. Okay, so what we have over here is an arc. Okay, so what does this mean? Well, it means over here, we want everywhere away from this. But we're also restricted. We have more than 150 centimeters from BC. So here is the line BC. We want to be 150 centimeters away from that. So drawing off 5 centimeters. 5 centimeters is over here. And also over here. So if I join these lines up, we want everywhere away from here, away from here, and we want to shade that region. And if we do that, we end up with this over here. This shaded region here, of course, represents everywhere where he can put the table. Question number 20, we have to solve 4n being greater than 11n plus 6. Well, if I subtract off 11n from both sides, we see that we have 3n being greater than 6. And now if I divide both sides by 3, we see that n is greater than 2. And now for part B, we have to show on the number line the set of values of x for which minus 2 is less than x plus 3, which is less than or equal to 4. So to do this question, we need to subtract off 3 from both sides. And if I do that, we have minus 5, which is less than x, which is less than or equal to 1. So when we come to sketch, well, obviously we're going to have a straight line in between minus 5 and 1, like so. And what I want over here for this weak inequality, I want a filled line like so, and for this strong inequality at minus 5, I want an empty circle. So that's our solution. Question 21, on the grid below we have to draw the graph of y equals 2x minus 3 for values of x from minus 2 to 4. Well, to do this question, what we can actually do is go to our calculator, to the table menu, type in our function. So here we have 2x minus 3. We start at minus 2, we finish at 4, and we want to go up in ones. So when x is minus 2, y is equal to minus 7. So let's add this to the diagram. When x is equal to minus 1, y is equal to minus 5. And then we continue this. So when x is 0, y is minus 3. When x is 1, y is minus 1. When x is equal to 2, if I move this here, y is equal to 1. When x is equal to 3, y is equal to 3. And when x is equal to 4, y is equal to 5. And then we join these up with a straight line. So if we do that, we end up with something looking like this. Question number 22, Hannah is planning a day trip for 195 students. She asks a sample of 30 students where they want to go. Each student chooses one place. So the table shows information about her results. So we've got the results over here. 10 chose theme park, 5 chose theatre, which is quite weird. Sports centre, 8 chose that. 8 chose the sports centre, and seaside, 7 chose that. And we have to work out how many of the 195 students you think will want to go to the theme park. Well, here we have 10 students out of the 30. And this is representative of the 195. So we multiply this by 195, turns out we get 65. So therefore, we have 65 students who want to go to the theme park. And we have to state any assumptions you made and explain how this may affect your answer. So here the sample is representative, otherwise our answer may be wrong. Now for question 23, we've got a container which is in the shape of a cuboid, as shown here. The container is 2/3 full of water. A cup holds 275 milliliters of water, and we have to work out the greatest number of cups that can be completely filled with water from the container. Well, for this, we can find out the volume of the cuboid, and then if we work 2/3 of that, that'll tell us the amount of water in the cuboid, and then from that we can find out how many cups we need. So therefore, the volume of the cuboid, that's equal to 30 multiplied by 6 multiplied by 19, which is 342 centimeters cubed, and therefore the volume of water, that's 2/3 of this 342. So if we work this out on our calculator, 2/3 multiplied by 342, that's equal to 228. So here we have 228, that's not the zero there. So here we have 2,280 centimeters cubed of water. So therefore the amount of cups we need, if one cup holds 275 milliliters of water, we're figuring out how many cups go into this amount. In other words, how many 275s go into 2280. So we have 2280 divided by 275. So if we work this out, we divide this by 275, turns out we get 8.29, etc. So therefore we have 8 cups. Okay. So we have 8 cups. Question 24. We have over here ABC, which is a right angle triangle, and AC is equal to 16 centimeters, and we have to calculate the length of AB to 2 decimal places. Well, AC, that's the longest side, it's opposite the right angle, so therefore this is the hypotenuse. AB, that's what we want to work out, it's opposite this angle of 38, so we call that the opposite. So what connects the hypotenuse and the opposite? That's sine. So here sine of 38, that's equal to the opposite AB divided by the hypotenuse 16. We wish to rearrange for AB, so AB is equal to 16 multiplied by the sine of 38. So if we work this out on our calculator, 16 times by the sine of 38, turns out we get 9.85 to 2 decimal places. Okay, so therefore we have 9.85. Question 25. Sally used her calculator to work out the value of a number y. Her answer on her calculator began as 8.3. We have to complete the error interval for y. Well, if the calculator starts off with an 8.3, we can't have an 8.4. So y must be less than 8.4. But it can equal 8.3 to begin with. So we have y which is less than or which is greater or equal to 8.3 but less than 8.4. Question 26. 360 pounds is shared between Abby, Ben, Chloe and Denish. The ratio of the amount Abby gets to the amount Ben gets is in the ratio 2 to 3. So let's just write this down. A to B is equal to 2 to 7. And Chloe and Danish each get 1.5 times the amount Abby gets, so we have to work out the amount of money Ben gets. Well, with this, we can find out the ratio of A to B to C to D. If Chloe and Danish get 1.5 times Abby, we multiply the two by 1.5, so we get 3. So we get 3 for C, 3 for D. And we split this ratio up between £360. So therefore the number of parts we have, that's equal to 306, well, the number of parts we have is 2 plus 7 plus 3 plus 3, which is equal to 15. So therefore the amount per part that's equal to 360 divided by 15, which is 24. So therefore the amount Ben gets, well, Ben has 7 parts, so we have 7 times by 24, which is 168. So therefore we see over here Ben gets £168. Question number 28. Here are the first 5 terms of a Fibonacci sequence, 3, 3, 6, 9, 15. We have to write down the next 2 terms of the sequence. Well, for this over here, a Fibonacci sequence, we add the 2 previous terms. So we begin with the 2 terms 3 and 3. 3 plus 3, that's 6. So that's our third term. To get the fourth term, 3 plus 6, that's 9. To get this term, 6 plus 9, that's 15. So to get the next term, 9 plus 15, that's 24. To get the term after this, 15 plus 24, that's 39. So here we have 24, 39. The first 3 terms of a different Fibonacci sequence are A, and 2A. We have to find the 6th term. Well, we've got our first term here. Second term is also A. Third term, A plus A, that's 2A. Next term, A plus 2A, that's 3A. Next term, 2A plus 3A, that's 5A. And term after that, 3A plus 5A, that's 8A. So therefore, we have over here 8A. And for question number 29, we have the vector A, which is given by 4, 5, the vector B, which is given by 3, 2. We have to work out A minus 2B as a column vector. So here we have A, which is 4, 5, minus 2 times by B, so we have 2 times by 3, 2. And if we work this out, we have 4, 5, minus, well, if I multiply the 2 into the bracket, 2 times 3, that's 6, 2 times 2, that's 4. So now if I subtract these, 4 take away 6, that's equal to minus 2, 5 take away 4, that's equal to 1. So therefore we have minus 2 and 1. So that's the end of the paper. I hope you found it useful. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Any questions, please feel free to comment them in the comment section below.